Here we are again. It's always such a pleasure. Remember when you tried to kill me twice?
I'm in space.
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again, bringing you back into the mad and crazy world of my Portal 2 video walkthrough. And this one is Chapter 6, entitled The Fall. And as you can tell, we're doing a bit of falling. And there is GlaDos in her new form. If none of you knew, she's now, you know, the big, beastly, mighty, all-powerful potato. And you're going to stick her on the end of your gun and have a lovely little sidekick for pretty much the rest of the game. And if you didn't see the twist coming with Weekly, well, it's just kicked you in the balls, and GlaDos has gone from enemy to friend in a swift blow. But this is pretty much a transition into the newer parts of Portal 2 and the newer elements of the game. And you're going to be introduced to pretty much exclusively new content. There's going to be the gels that you use, the blue liquids, the red liquid, or the orange liquid, sorry. And then there's the white liquid, which we're going to be introduced to, and it all does different things. All does different stuff. You're going to also get introduced to the like, crazy gravity escalator fucking things. I don't even know what they're called. But they carry you across the map in like a suspended motion. And a whole host of different things. So if you were just thinking that right now the game seems to be a linear sequences of test chambers, you're probably right in thinking that, but it definitely opens up now. And one thing I will say is there's quite a lot of exploring on this chapter and on the ones to come, because in between the puzzle sections, the big draw and the puzzle is where to go next, because the areas are really big and you generally find yourself looking for that one, you know, patch of plastered wall that you can use your gun on. And it isn't completely obvious sometimes, and it can take a while. But right now I'm just randomly firing my portal in the wrong place, but you have to put one on that wall and then one through this gate and on that plaster just below me to the left. And I'm looking above for some reason because it had been a while since I'd played, but it's just there. I'm overcomplicating things. It's Occam's razor. It's always Occam's razor. But there you go. Nice and simple. Then you've got to use that and that wall again and another quick but effective puzzle. And these are some of the most fun sections of Portal 2 in my opinion. And there's a couple coming up that are even better, and the reason that is you're introduced to a new narrator, a new person who's going to be speaking over the intercom as you do the puzzles, and every single time you complete one he's going to say something else, and the dude is fucking hilarious. He is so dry and so funny, it's just great. It's like, I dare you not to laugh. I prefer him over GlaDos, I prefer him over Wheatley. I don't prefer him over the little core in space, because that dude is a beast. He is the funniest part of this game and I love him. But yeah, this section can be a little intimidating because when you first get here you don't have a clue of what you're doing, basically. It's just one of those things where you're looking around like an idiot all the time and you're just trying to scan for anything that looks remotely portalable. And it can be difficult, and you'll notice that I don't zoom a lot, and the reason I don't zoom a lot is purely because I'm lazy and I can do it without having to zoom. A lot of the times I'll miss the shots, and the reason for that is I'm playing on full sensitivity on this game because, I don't know, this seems like a game that you're really rewarded with a higher sensitivity because it does feel very, very sluggish, and if you're struggling to, you know, move around quickly or have any kind of finesse, I would definitely say try the sensitivity increase, see if that helps. But some games just aren't designed to stream and flow like Call of Duty does, because I tried playing Rainbow Six Vegas the other day, the Rainbow Six Vegas 2 to be precise, and it's a game I used to love it a lot, and when I went back and played it, I completely forgot that there was no control system that mirrored Call of Duty. There was no, you know, like left trigger to aim down sights, it's all push the right analog in, and I fucking hate that. That is a control scheme that I think should die, because it's just not intuitive at all, it's not fun, I don't like it. And then add in the fact that, you know, the game kind of looks like arse because it was basically a rehashing of the first game because Ubisoft didn't really want to do anything different. And but they are great games, and I'm really looking forward to the hinted at new one, because they have mentioned a Vegas sequel, and that's a gun game there where all the guns are different. It's like they have so many assault rifles, so many SMGs, and for a lot of it they all kind of perform very similar, but they all look really different, and it's really interesting just, you know, swapping things out and trying new stuff. It's just a shame that the mechanics of the game are so sluggish, because I put that game on full sensitivity and I couldn't even spin round fast enough to kill a guy that was behind me, which is a big shame, because that is a game where you die so quick. Beating that game on realistic difficulty, and the first one especially, I think the first one is one of the toughest first-person shooter difficulties in a while, because as you got hit, your screen went really bright, and then it went really dark, and you couldn't see a thing. So, unlike Call of Duty, where when you got shot, you get, bukkaked with blood, and then you kill the guy that was shooting you, on this, you couldn't fucking see the guy who was shooting you, and it, it was kind of crazy. But this section right now is a massive red herring. It's a massive open area. It makes you think you're going to have to go on the towers, you're going to have to go across the water, you're going to have to do some crazy platforming, but the simplest answer is, it's this cheeky door over here. You have to teleport through that. You don't have to mess about anything else. And I was stuck there for a while, because I thought you had to do something really romantic and complicated, and it's really that simple. But when you throw that lever down, it's going to, I assume, do something with the door. There you go, it opens the door, and it introduces you to the first real conversation by the Aperture guy, who is hilarious. I don't know his name, but he's such a chauvinist, he's brilliant. And you're introduced to one of the first major puzzles of this area. And this is another one that looks a lot more complicated than it is, and I think that is the best thing about Portal, in my opinion, is the fact that it looks like it's so complicated, yet the answer is so simple, and you almost kick yourself for not noticing what you had to do. But once you're up on this scaffolding, if you put another portal on that, angled section, it will fire you through the O and across to where you need to be. But you have to drop to get the momentum to do that. And there you go, nice and quick. Puts you to the next section so you can listen to the funny guy riff off a couple more hilarious lines, and then you can proceed to the next test. And this is a long video, for anybody wondering, which seems almost kind of, juxtaposed with the Shangri-La videos I've been throwing up, because they've all been like 1.5 minutes long, which is the shortest videos I've ever made. And I don't feel guilty for making them. I don't feel like I'm whoring myself or anything, because I think it's good to have a nice mixture of length when it comes to your videos. Obviously, when it comes to your penis, it's completely up to the woman. But 20-minute videos are all good and well, but sometimes you don't have 20 minutes, and sometimes it's 20 minutes of something you're not that bothered about watching, or 20 minutes of something that they're talking about that you're not that bothered about listening to. And that could be one of the many draws and one of the many deficits when it comes to doing these commentaries, because not a lot of people, rehearse them. You don't get that many successful people on YouTube that, sit down and write what they're about to say, and if they do, it generally sounds really forced, because it can be difficult to write something that sounds natural, because I don't know if you noticed, folks, but you don't write and speak the same. It is two completely different disciplines, and for me personally, I could probably write a commentary before I do one, and it would probably be pretty cool, but I just wouldn't enjoy it, because I'd feel like I were doing like an assignment or an essay for school or something. So I just like to sit down with the mic and talk shit, because I am a gifted shit talker. Once again, the only problem with that is you never know what subjects you're going to cover, because when you start doing a commentary, your mind just goes completely blank, and you kind of fart on what you wanted to say. You mind fuck yourself. So there could have been 4 things I wanted to talk about through the duration of this video, and I might never talk about any of them. And it's the most bizarre thing you'll ever come across, I assure you. If you've never done it, try it. It's just one of those things. You just forget how to speak, you forget what you wanted to say. It's hilarious. But once you flick that switch, you need to go up onto the balcony, and there is a nice plastered wall to the right. There you go. Then you drop down onto here, and that's another pretty short challenge done. You just have to turn to your right, follow this pipe, and then drop down to another elevator. These elevators are slightly different to the monotonous ones we were encountering before, because they're older. So I don't know if you've noticed, but this is like the first iteration of the Aperture laboratories. This is like the 70s equivalent, which is why it's all condemned and run down and looks kind of garbagey. But
this first test involves something the lab boys call repulsion gel.
There you go, repulsion gel is the first test. This is what we're introduced to, and all repulsion gel does is make you bounce like that. And you can use it to jump really high, because unless you fall onto the gel, it will not bounce you. So if you walk onto it and you press A, you will jump. And all these tests are, from now on, are exploiting this function. And what you have to do, if you can get your mindset into what the gel does, and if you can think the correct way, you will have no problem with these next few chambers, because they're pretty simple. There is one coming up that I got stuck on because I was trying to do the most complicated thing ever, and it just wasn't needed, it wasn't necessary. But luckily enough, I learnt from my mistakes so that this guide is a lot more streamlined, and it should help anybody that's struggling. I will say though, I don't actually advocate using this guide for Portal 2 because it is such a fun game and such a rewarding game to discover yourself, but I'm probably going to say that a hell of a lot of times throughout this guide, so I'm not going to stress it at all. Don't want to sound like some downy on a bus that keeps telling you about his day. And I do apologise if you have Down syndrome and you think that's offensive. It's purely comedy, nothing else. Stop being so damn serious. But here's the next test chamber, and once again there's more of the blue gel, and over here you see the box, and this is an interesting one, this one. So there you go. If you jump on it, it makes you bounce, and that's what it's all about. But what you've got to do here is you've got to get across to where that box is, across to my right. Do you see it there? Because you need the box to put on this to open up that so that you can bounce. But I'm fucking it up at this moment in time because I can't remember what I'm doing. But all you have to do here is do you see the patch of portable, that stuff there? You need to use your portal to land on that moving platform. So if you wait for it, it will come across very slowly, and then you just drop onto it. Then you come across here, pick up that cube, and now you can plant the cube onto the button. But I've got to jump. There I go. And that's the only thing that even gets remotely annoying with Valve games, is the fact you can't do anything when you pick an object up. Like it's not like Bioshock where you had your telekinesis and you could use your telekinesis and your gun at the same time on the second one. It's nothing like that, but that doesn't make it a bad thing. It just makes it a refined thing. And this is a fun one, this one, because if you jump on an angle towards the wall, you can effectively do the Mario wall jump all the way across this little canyon. Then you'll get that cube, and that cube enables you to get to the next test chamber. So you can drop down here, just feel free to bounce up. Drop that there, and I'm looking in the wrong direction. If you turn around, what that's done is it's turned another one of the portable wall tiles so that I can now get to the exit of the other room. But I've completely forgot what the fuck I'm doing, so I do apologise for this moment of weakness. And if you look to your left, up to your left, you idiot, to your left, there you go. There's your portal that you've just opened. Now all you have to do is get your ass across there. And once again, what am I doing? It's like I've not realised what the puzzle is. It's like, well done, you silly bastard. So I've got to jump back across the canyon to get the cube, to do what I should have done before but didn't because of an aneurysm to the brain. But while I'm doing this nonsense, I'm going to talk about something different because I've had a while away from talking shit on YouTube, so why not come back with a force? So there's a law that's been passed on video gaming. I don't know if you heard about it. It's more applies to the States than anywhere else because that's where it was held, and it's taken something like 4 or 5 years even to get into before a judge to get this shit working. And what's being passed is the rating system for games. What they were trying to do is they were trying to ban game sales to underage people. And what it was going to be any kind of game, regardless of what its age certificate was, that had certain acts of violence in it. And a good example to clear it up for anybody that's not too plussed on what that means is, for instance, if you have a 15 game, but one of the scenes of your game is of something like torture, even if it's not, torture porn like a fucking Hostel or something like that, just the portrayal of torture itself would be justification for it to be banned to somebody who wasn't 18. And what they were basically trying to do is, I don't know what they were trying to achieve truly, aside from, video games are just like movies, are just like, any kind of interactive entertainment, or any entertainment, if you want to, put it down to its basis level. And much like, heavy metal and heavy music, the media and the world as a whole sometimes wants to victimize something. They want to find a scapegoat. They want to find something they can blame their bad parenting on, or, tragedies of the world on. And, you know, instead of blaming things like religion and politics and money and greed and the fact that human beings as a whole, some of them are just fucking broken and evil, they want to blame something else. And the easiest victim is gaming. And before that, it was music. I mean, Judas Priest had a massive fucking trial hearing about some kid that killed himself after listening to one of their records backwards because apparently it had subliminal messages in it that told you to kill yourself. And I think the song itself was something to do with suicide. But it's like, it's a fucking CD, dude. It's like, I've read books that have had rape in them, that have had, you know, fucking brutal female torture. I've had child pornography in some of the thrillers that I've read. I've had people doing the most deprived, most degenerate things physically possible to the human body. I've not gone out the next day with a pair of fucking wire cutters and tried to kill somebody. There's no such thing. Well, I'm not even going to say that because there is. Extremely charismatic people can move, you know, weak-willed people. It's just fact. Just look at Charlie Manson. Just look at Jesus if you want to see two sides of that coin. It's just how human beings are. There is an urge within us to seek somebody who we think has answers, to seek somebody who we think sees the bigger picture. But the bigger picture is never killing people. It is never killing yourself. It is never anything to do with harm. It's just fucking dumb. And if you believe that, you're a retard. It's how it is. There's no ways you can go around it. There's just nothing. There really isn't. And video games are not going to make people kill people. Unless those people are gonna fucking kill people anyway. That's how it works. And I know I might be, you know, solemnizing it or diminutizing it or whatever you want to say, turning it into something simple. But it's got to be fact at this point, regardless of how many fucking studies they've done on, you know, ridiculously dumb and retarded people. It's a case of, if you go and play Call of Duty and shoot somebody on Call of Duty and it gives you such a hard-on that you go outside and shoot a fucking grandma, then you were probably always going to end up shooting somebody outside. Just because you played the game that gives you the rock-hard boner that made you want to go out and shoot the unsuspecting elderly person doesn't mean that the game was to blame. It means that you were a fucked up person and you probably shouldn't be alive. And it's that simple. And the law itself wasn't passed, luckily enough, so the rating standard hasn't gone through. And all the asshole douchebag fucking politicians that wanted to victimise gaming didn't get enough votes because it's now acknowledged as an art form and will have its rating systems to the standard much like any other things, much like films and all things like that. Because you pretty much can't sell something that isn't rated because Microsoft won't allow it. And many of the massive retailers, they're just not touch it. The only other form of media entertainment that doesn't go through a rating system is hardcore pornography. And obviously, games are very different to hardcore pornography. It's just fact. It's like, unless you're playing a hardcore pornography game. I saw what you did there, clever person. But suffice to say, in the simplest terms, it's a good thing. And it will benefit us as gamers. So you should rejoice, even if you don't quite understand what's gone off. But right now, you'll notice, I'm having trouble with this puzzle because I can't quite remember what the hell I'm supposed to be doing. And, you know, it happens. It's just how it works. But what I haven't realised is, if I drop off this platform here and put a portal beneath my feet, I will be fired across, I will hit the smear of blue, it will then bounce me to the exit. So, that's what you're supposed to do here, people. I do apologise for this, you know, infantile display of dumbness, but I don't know what I was trying to do. I honestly don't know. And I probably should have gone in and trimmed this shit out, but it gives me an opportunity to talk more bollocks, and if anybody enjoys my bollocks, I will share them. Don't take that, obviously, literally, because it's not intended that way. But yeah, it was a really cool thing, and I'm happy for it. I'm really happy for it, because it just sucks, man. It's like people will find something to blame for reasons things go wrong. And I think that's more human nature than anything else, because we never want to admit that we're the problem. It's always something else. It's like the dude that kills his entire family with a shotgun and then says Morpheus told him to do it because he liked the Matrix and he wears leather. It's like, I watch certain internet videos with women wearing leather. It doesn't make me want to listen to Morpheus any more than it did when I was watching the film, because I realised that Lawrence Fishburne, other than being a fantastic actor, was in fact acting. not telling me to kill people. It's like, where do these fucking people come from, man? Is there some asshole in, I don't know, like Detroit, that's just queefing them out in a dumpster next to all, like the dead fetuses and stuff? I just don't understand where this garbage comes from, where this human refuse that ruins entertainment for sane people. It's like Scream. You watch Scream 1, and the killer at the end, where they're like, you've watched too many fucking movies, and he's like, don't blame it on the movies, Sid! Movies don't make serial killers, they make serial killers more creative. And although the dude was a raging psycho and an actor, if you want to get on a meta level, whoa, it's true, it's fact. Fluent fact. But that's enough of that rant. This is a pretty fun puzzle. What you basically have to do here is, you have to have the blue repulsion gel put onto that square where that water's been poured. The trick is, you cannot put gel on water because the water rinses the gel away. So what you have to do is you have to jump up to that button using the gel, turn off the water, then use your portals to fire the blob over there, and then you can jump on the tile if you're quick enough and get up here. And that is a potentially difficult chamber done extremely quickly, because it's been figured out, son. It's been figured out. And this game can be the simplest game on the planet when you know what you're doing. And right here you need to use the portals to fire the blob up onto the wall, so that when you go through the portal, once you've dropped off this top balcony, it will fire you into the gel, which will then in fact bounce you up towards the exit. And it's another potentially difficult test chamber done quite simply. And watch this. Isn't it just annoying when you get stuck and you can't get through the portal and it starts bouncing you back and forth like some fucking Taiwanese prostitute with ping pong balls? But once you've been fired through here, this next area got me stuck for ages because I didn't realise to do what I just did then. So make sure you fire the portal down where that repulsion gel is dripping, because if you don't, you will never solve this puzzle. And what you have to do is, if you put the other portal on that bit there, it will fire the repulsion gel onto that slant, and then you can use that portal. You can aim your portal gun down. Go on, dude. Aim your portal gun down. There you go. And when you fall, you get your momentum, you bounce into that, and it flings you up onto the balcony, and the puzzle's done. And a little tip for people that want to know when the puzzles are over, to differentiate between traversal areas and puzzle areas. When it says saving, that means you've just overcome whatever the game put in your way, and you are well on your way to the next section, which is another test chamber. Or as the black dude on Resi 5 says, another pipe. But this one's a cool one as well, because you're going to need water and you're going to need repulsion gel. So if you come over here and you put your portal there, put your portal underneath this, it's going to shatter the glass with the box, because the box gets all buoyant and starts going nuts, starts spidering the glass, and it bounces out. But to catch it can be a bit of a pain in the ass. And the best thing to do is to use the water to douse off the blue stuff, and it will calm the box down. But you can just grab it if you don't want to mess about. I think I end up just grabbing it because it's bouncing everywhere. There you go. Hey, it broke the system. But rinse it off, drop it on the button, and what that's going to do is that's going to enable you to get to the next section, but you need to be able to take it off the button. So make sure you've got a portal under the repulsion gel, and then when you go over here, oh, what the fuck am I doing? There you go. I've got some lovely repulsion gel to jump upwards, and now I just have to put my portal on top of the roof of the button. Look up, you tit. Come on, Chris, look up. Look up. There you go. And then that will give the box buoyancy, and it will enable the lift to go up, and another chamber is down. So there you go. Swiftly moving through Chapter 6. There's only 2 levels left. And I must say that the puzzles get a little bit more difficult from here on out, so get ready for longer and more contrived, machinations. But the Duke Nukem demos finally hit the dash, hit the marketplace, and I'm probably going to get that, but I'm not going to do a walkthrough to it because, I don't know, I did the walkthroughs to the demos, A, because I thought they'd get good views and it'd be a nice little teaser to the walkthrough I did to the full retail game. But what I'm going to do differently here is, I want to do the Balls Deep series. And for anybody that's heard me mention it before and they wonder what the hell it is and how it's such an inappropriate name, when you see the title card, you'll completely understand where I'm going with it and why it's funny. But it's basically my take on a quick look. Here's an interesting little topic while we're on another slow moment of this level. I was reading earlier about the producer of Final Fantasy, a guy called Yoshinori Kitase. And this is a guy that's been producing Final Fantasies for a very long time. Back before, you know, they went absolutely dog shit. Back when they were the greatest series ever invented. And, you know, visionary geniuses like Hironobu Sakaguchi could actually write a good fucking story. And the games themselves didn't suck massive cock like Final Fantasy 13 did. And, anyhow, he's basically said that if the demand for high-definition Final Fantasies was high enough, it's definitely something that Square Enix would consider. It's like, dude, I have played Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 10, I mean, hell, even Final Fantasy 6. I've played those games so much, I wouldn't even know where to start. And I know, just by one click in Google or in YouTube or in any other place like that, that millions of other people have done the exact fucking same. And they are some of the most magical games ever made. I mean, they have side missions, they have side games that are better than some games released today. I mean, you'd look at fucking Final Fantasy X. Blitzball is better than half of the fucking sports simulators that come out these days. I would rather play Blitzball for the rest of my life than ever touch a fucking Madden game. It's like, the card games in Final Fantasy VIII and Final Fantasy VII are better than most of the Xbox arcade titles, because you went through the world getting cards, you could pretty much challenge anybody. It was a really interesting and strategic card game. Can you imagine being able to play Tetramaster online? It'd be the greatest thing ever made. But instead, what do we get? Final Fantasy 13 fucking 2. Because Final Fantasy X-2 was so good. It's like, Jesus Christ, people. After Final Fantasy X, there hasn't been a decent Final Fantasy. A lot of people will disagree with me on that fact, and I'm glad you do, because I know how passionate I am about Final Fantasy, so I respect how passionate you are. But I'm going to say it now, and you're probably not going to like it, but they've been dog shit. When Hironobu Sakaguchi left because they had creative differences and they didn't even quote his name on the fucking credits of 10-2, it's like, fuck you. Fuck everything you're about. This is the guy that basically was the creative director and the writer for some of the best stories ever told. Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 10. I mean, the guy was doing it from Final Fantasy 1. He's a visionary, he's a genius, and when he went, so did one of the best composers in video game music, Nobuo Uematsu, which is probably a really bad pronunciation, but fuck it, the guy's a genius. And I just don't understand why that is such a silly thing to say. If the demand was high enough, they would sell faster than heroin in a crack alley. They really would. It's just unbelievable. But, anyhow, enough of my squabbling. Here is GlaDos once again, being attacked by the bird. We now get to pick her up, shove her on our gun, and get the hell out of Chapter 6. And a little insight into what I'm working on currently when it comes to guides and whatnot. I've been dancing around an enslaved guide because I wanted to do a fresh start on hard and collect every single one of the fucking energy sphere things, whatever they are. The equivalent to bananas in Donkey Kong. The only problem is, I realised that after playing a level 3 times and still not finding them all, it's like I would be playing that game so much it would make the guide so frustrating and I wouldn't have any fun. So instead, I'm just going to do a fresh game on hard. So I do apologise for anybody that might have wanted to be able to find all that shit, but the concept of me using a guide to make a guide, yeah, that's where I stopped doing this. That is far too fucking contradictory, hypocritical and ridiculous for me. But anyhow, to get across here, you need to put a portal all the way up there, and you need to drop, get all the momentum, and fire yourself through it like this, and I fucked that up really badly. But I shouldn't do it this time. There you go. Fires you across, and then you can go on the elevator, and this is going to lead up, and pretty much towards the end of Chapter 6. So there you go, people. Thanks for watching, and you take care now.